Today on the 17 Media podcast, I welcome Blake Trace. Blake, you're the head coach for the under-19 Mal Meninga squad.
Yep.
Our audience has been pretty receptive to the chat with JB and what goes on here, so hopefully we can learn a bit more today. Welcome.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What I'll do is I'll just run you through, I'll run through some stuff and we can have a bit of a chat about it and go from there. So your philosophy for coaching and what are you actually looking for in your players and your team for your under-19 Mal Meninga team?
I think from my point of view, I guess it's a bit different for each team. You got to really look at what makes up your team and sort of what you're looking for, I guess, would be more how to get the team to best complement each other. But I guess it's one of those things where you've got to look at the individual as well. They've got to be willing to give the hard work and put in the effort and do all the little 1%ers and have the right attitude. I think that goes a long way. Obviously on top of that, then it's all about the player and their development. So it's really about how much they buy in and how much they really want to put into their own athletic ability and in their development. So I guess from my point of view, it's definitely an attitude thing. Sure. Because, you can coach skill and you can look at to develop players, but you can't coach attitude. You can't coach work ethic. So, yeah.
For sure. And I guess you got talented players. You got some players that don't have it on talent but work their backsides off. Like, how do you balance your squad?
Yeah, well, I think that is a big one, obviously, to balance that. I guess it's really about complementing each individual. And when I speak about that, it's more about looking at what your strengths are and then looking at how we can best utilize those strengths across the park. And then, as you said, on top of that, if we can get them to buy into what you're sort of looking for and all those little things, it goes a long way to being able to then contribute to the team success. As much as we look at individual athletes and talent, which obviously plays a big part in high-performance teams, you probably need to have the right attitude to contribute, your part in that as well. So, and then looking around, how do we complement those talented athletes? It's really dependent. It's a hard question because it depends on what you're looking for and what they need. And it's not just about the talented athletes, to be honest, as well. It's about, the makeup for the team and what is best for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, one thing I've noticed is, not everyone's born with talent, but you look at some of the NRL stars and there's a fair few that have got there based on hard work and work ethic. Well,
there is that thing, Justin, that hard work always outweighs talent because talent only gets you so far. That's always been something that's been thrown around, and it's very true. I've seen people in preseasons that come in with the most talent, and then by the end of the preseason, because they haven't put in the effort, they thought it was going to be too easy. Sure. There's definitely athletes that have necessarily come in with the right attitude, push themselves beyond that, and then, in the end of the day, I'm obviously going to put the team first. So whatever it is in the end, and whoever the best player is, that's going to suit the team the best and contribute the most success. And as we said, we're a high performance club. So.
Yeah, look, that's one of the things I've learned, that there's sometimes there's a player that might not be suitable for your team at that point in time. Doesn't mean they're a bad player. It just means that they're not going to fit what you're after.
Yeah, 100%. And that, that's something when we talk about the team's makeup and what is best for the team, really. There has been athletes over the last few years that there's been a couple I've had to let go where I've just sort of been like, look, mate, I don't want to stop your opportunity elsewhere. Yeah. But at the moment where we are with our depth chart and some of the players I potentially have in front of you, that's something I might need to obviously, I don't want to ruin your opportunity elsewhere, but at the same time, you're probably not going to play this year here. Yep. However, as a top age kid in particular, that's another thing that really contributes to part of that conversation. And I find from an athlete's point of view as well, being honest with them and just being straight up, but then obviously showing that you care, because we obviously do care about their development. That's why we're in this role. Yep. It's all about them and what we can do to help them achieve what they want to succeed in this career. So
yeah, definitely. And we're only talking a few hundred players in the competition. So if they're at the pointy end of what there is floating around in this league, then there's only a certain amount of spots.
And that's always the challenge. there's a lot of talent around here, especially across the Bayside and stuff, where, you know, in the end of the day, we only can pick 17 players.
Mm-hmm.
So 17 put on the jersey to wear each week. Obviously, the big thing in any sort of team culture is it doesn't take 17 to win a comp. It takes the entire squad. That's like it takes 30, whether injuries play a part or, you know, even training. I'm very big on, obviously, you're always pushing each other to be the best athlete you can be. And the more you can push each other, the harder they're going to work, the harder you're going to work, the better we're going to be, and the more quality we're going to have in the squad. So, from our point of view, you know, it definitely doesn't take 17 to win a competition. I can tell you that right now.
No. And you know, injuries come up. They come up pretty rapidly, and they can happen in training. They can happen in the games.
Without a doubt.
So, what are the players like when you get a hold of them? I mean, you've been here now for, is this your 3rd or 4th year here?
No, this is actually my 7th. I did some stuff with Seagulls Mal Meninga previously. I did some junior development with the 13s and 14s prior as well. That was when Michael Dobson was here and Glenn Dreger. I did some stuff with them.
Okay.
And then I just sort of was working through the junior systems and did some stuff under Jesse McLean and with Mal Meninga side, and then did some stuff under Dobbo himself with Colts previously, and then obviously went back and did the whole Sarah Connell head coaching, and I did stuff with Shorty through the Colts again. So
you've seen some of the boys you've got with you now, you've been looking at for a long time.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Like, it's good to actually see some of them come through, and you have seen them since that 13s, 14s. You know, Tyler Pereira's obviously in our side this year at the moment. He's somebody I saw as a 13-year-old to come through. So it's good to see, obviously, him and obviously his brothers have come through. Yeah, for sure. So, I've seen him come through.
There's a whole stack of them, those boys. So the whole family's worked their way through.
Well, they all push each other.
Oh, they do. They do. I wouldn't like to be there for a Christmas day and put it in their place. I reckon it'd be pretty serious. So when you get these players, what do you get, and what's your aim to turn them into? I'd imagine fitness would be fairly varying when they turn up for their first session. Again,
it's probably one of those things that each individual is at different stages. Understanding where they're at, trying to critique the skills, and obviously, like, it's just my opinion. And then obviously we've got a lot of high performance staff here that we can evaluate as much as possible, whether it is conditioning and stuff like that. We do have the performance staff to manage a lot of that. From the coaching aspect of view, I like to obviously break down each of their skills as much as I can. Not just as simple as attack and defense, but obviously really getting into, like, obviously more passing stuff, like around draw pass, scenario-based things within game environments is a big one as well. So just looking at how we can create different constraints to develop their skill. So I guess from my point of view, when you talk about looking at each individual athlete, it's different for everybody. And then obviously, as you know, coming in doing some footage stuff, the more we can obviously video, the better it's going to be, because we've got a lot of kids that learn in different ways too. So it's not just necessarily verbal cues. It could be visual. So I know sometimes we use some of the cup video and we throw it up on the screen, and we'll go through, break down some of their stuff around what we're doing here. And then from ours, we'll try and, it's a bit harder with the phone and things like that to pull it out video from behind. But if we really get to that point where, let's say, an athlete's not getting to understand obviously what we're trying to do, we will break it down to that point. But like I said, it's all different for everybody. And then it really comes down to what's going to work best for the team and where it's going to be, whether it's left, right edge, all that sort of stuff. But they're at that age as well as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old athlete where they're still developing a lot of their skills. Some of them are late bloomers. Some of them are, early developers, and that plays a massive part as well. I know in the physical development side of things, and there's plenty of kids that have come through. Yeah.
You got them on both ends of the spectrum, haven't you?
Yeah.
So that's one of those things where you've got some that are sort of set to go at 14, and then they're coming on strong at 18, 19.
100%.
So JB alluded to the fact that they go from sort of a couple hours a week to 6 hours here, and then we play on, you guys play on Saturdays and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What part of the discipline off the ball and not at training do you sort of expect from your players? Like, do you want them to keep working? Are they working too hard? Or
that's where, like, it's really important for our performance staff to come in to play a major role in, like, obviously for the 18, 19-year-olds, obviously I did Cyril Connor last year, and a lot of them are still in school. Now I'm with 18, 19-year-olds, majority of them just started out full-time work. So I found that the first 4 weeks was very interesting, where a lot of them are still trying to work out that work-life footy balance type thing.
Yeah.
They were coming. I know we did a back-to-back session there on a Thursday, Friday, and they were coming in Friday and they were exhausted.
Cooked.
Trying to get them to kick chase 40 meters and then put in a bit of effort and get some energy was a bit difficult.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, like they obviously put in a lot of, effort, and I think you just got to find a balance there where you make it enjoyable as well. And then really find what drives the individual. I think that's really important. There's some players that will come up to you and they want extra work. Yeah. And you know what? Be my guest, all good. Then there's some other athletes that they just need to rest because then they'll put the effort in. They might come and do extras when we're doing training stuff. Yep. And that's where we obviously talk to them about there's certain athletes that we may approach and just say, hey, look, mate, we need to work a little bit more on a spiral passing or certain skills there, like your certain footwork here, your dip into contact, whatever it may be.
Yep.
And then give them a couple little drills that they can do. But we're not going to get to a point where we're going to go make them, do excessive running and loading and stuff like that. We've got to manage that as much as we can.
And I think those fine details that you can hone in on. And the thing is, you've got a great staff around you, both from, I guess, conditioning, speed and agility, and also your medical staff, keeping an eye on the kids and seeing how they're going. So your speed and agility stuff and your conditioning, what sort of things are you doing there in the program to enhance these guys?
Well, I do a lot of obviously the coaching side of it, but I oversee a lot of what they're doing. I get, obviously we sort of interrelate the loading to make sure we're not putting too much on them, especially when it comes to the skill side of things. In regards to the conditioning, I think it's at their age, we obviously got to build some sort of baseline and foundation of conditioning. So they have to be, at a point where, they're fit enough to be able to play 60 to 80 minutes in a game, especially maybe not so much the middles, but definitely if you're a half an outside back or an 80-minute nine. So we definitely got to get some sort of long distance conditioning into them and have that load there. But then it's about managing each session differently. So we will have a green week, an orange week, and a red week. And obviously the red means we're loading them a fair bit.
Going hard,
And that's where we'll pull back a lot on the skills and then the transitions between both. So we're just trying to manage what we can do there.
Yep.
Obviously, we really try and stress around recovery with the players and athletes. It's a bit hard at this age, at 18, 19 years old. We know what they're like with nutrition and stuff as it is. So, but we'll do everything we can to sort of, keep them aware, give them the knowledge and understanding of what they need to do, obviously on and off the field. So, but it's all maintained a lot by performance staff, which is good.
I look at some of the club stuff and I think, there's groups of 20, 30 boys or girls and you've got different groups in them. You've got the groups that are there, they're just diehard. You've got some that are just there because they want to play with their mates. You've got others, they've always played. So, but one thing I notice here is whether your squad be 20, 30 or 50, you've got everyone seems engaged. Everyone seems like they're just waiting for instruction, waiting.
Yeah. And it's definitely one of those things that, they've all got their dream. And that's always something they're chasing. And obviously we try and make it as realistic as possible, obviously at the start, and give them the baseline, the stats and what it actually looks like. But look, there is still somewhat a little bit like that. But I think you got to have, because it is such a high intense environment, and obviously it's about performance and it's about developing the athlete and focusing on them and all that sort of stuff. It's one of those ones you got to find ways to engage each athlete. So if you can find fun aspects in regards to obviously, and then still relating and focusing on the athletic development and stuff like that and each skill, then you can do it that way. But you are right. A lot of them are really engaged and want to buy in and things like that. And I think that really comes down to the environment that you create. I'm just a big believer around, obviously you do have some fun side of things, but there's definitely some serious side to it. The more you can really put it back on them to create their own sort of, we're always going to guide and facilitate a culture, right? And that's one thing about this club that I love is,
and I think that's in all things like work, school,
100%,
so on and so forth. But I noticed that they're quite bonded together. Whilst there's some great individuals in there, the observations I've made is that they're kind of all there for each other, and which is just really good to see.
Yeah, well, like I said here, Justin, it's one of those ones environment-wise where if you can create a team atmosphere where they want to push each other to be the best that they can be, And like we're on a big thing at the moment where it's all about the quality that we want to put on the park, and it's the quality we want to put on, like to wear the Seagulls jersey and what it means.
Yeah.
And they've really bought into it, which is really good. And so we're doing everything we can around that. And obviously I praise everything they've done so far, and they're pushing each other to get to that standard. So it's definitely one of those things that the more that they can do that and keep each other on track, the better we're going to be come the end of the season. And I said, no matter what, like, it's also one of those things that I say to them, like, boys, footy is footy and we love that. But at the same time, the more you can enjoy being around your mates to push each other to be the best that you can be, like this is where you're going to create your lifelong memories. Because, you're going to have fun in the season. And mind you, it is high performance. So we definitely focus on obviously trying to, do really well and succeed and develop ourselves as a team and a club. But definitely enjoy it while you're doing it, because you only get to do Mal Meninga twice.
And look, that's the thing. We all look back with favour on our, childhood, early 20s, that sort of thing, and the mateship that they get. And, like I said, there's two guys trying to bring the best out of each other, but in reality, they're both fighting for the one spot. And it could be the situation where one sits out, watches for the whole season. It could be the other one plays. So it's from an outsider looking in, it's good to observe that whilst they're trying to beat each other, they're also there to help each other.
Exactly.
And as a unit, they seem like they're fairly tight.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think it's going to, like, as I was saying to you, it's going to go a long way into the season because of that. No matter what, you're still going to have each other's back, and that's something if you can get around each other, that's better. And
wearing that jersey, like, I know that there's a lot of players that have gone on to the elite level, and we've got some of the greats of the game have come through this club.
Yeah,
it's
well, it definitely makes my job easier from a coaching point of view here to get them to buy into something.
I can imagine.
Just like the Wynnum way, like, it's so inclusive and so welcoming, and just the history of the club itself is significant. Each player that comes in, we obviously got the big wall out here with all the past players and things like that on it.
Some pretty big names on that.
Premiership photos and stuff, and it goes in the gym as well. So, it makes a significant difference for them to walk down that hallway each session and see that it means something. To go on the cup shed and see past players and jerseys and things like that, like it makes a significant difference to the atmosphere and the environment that we're actually in. It shows you that, like, this is the next level, and this is
we're here. We're playing for sheep stations, and you're a part of something.
Exactly right. And then just getting to understand what it means, to be a Seagull.
Oh, and it's a proud thing. And I know some of the boys, and they wear the jerseys and they wear them with pride, and there's a great legacy there. So having, and I'm sure that all the cup teams and footy clubs have the wherewithal to make sure they're professional outfits. But, I kind of think that the Gulls have got a little bit of a step up from some because of the heritage. And like, you speak to Wayne Weeks and the CEO here, and he's from, I came to one of the first meetings he had here, and his buy-in instantly was huge. Like, he came from outside the organisation to inside the organisation, and just on reputation, you could tell he was really passionate about it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And, like, I didn't grow up here myself. I was at a couple of other clubs, and I more as a player than necessarily a coach. But ever since I've been here, like I said, it's been very inclusive. But as soon as you walk through the door, it means something. And, that, in my opinion, that's what I think sets, Wynnum apart from other clubs is you come in here, it means something. It's about the history and the people that have been there before you, but then it's also about the present at the same time. And, it's really important to understand what it means. And I keep talking about that, what does it mean to be a Seagull? And that probably makes a difference, which is why I think the culture that we got within the community as well is so strong.
Oh, absolutely.
Even like with the junior clubs and stuff as well. So
yeah, I think so. And the fact that, you've been here for 7 years, which blows me away, but that's to work through that period and get to be head coach. Like, that's got to be pretty special for you personally.
Yeah, for sure. Like, obviously I've had to come through the systems and things like that, just like the kids do, and that's something everyone's got a journey with what they do. And obviously it's just special to be a part of something like this. And I had the Cyril Connor boys last year, which was a really, it was a bit of a roller coaster of a year, but it was definitely worth it. And the boys work really hard, and I look forward to seeing how they go again this year. And some of them have stepped up to be in our male side this year. And I had the opportunity to go up with Matty Head and do some stuff at Cup last year too. So I'm going to, I'll get an opportunity to do the same sort of thing this year. So No, there's plenty of opportunity. We sat down with Weeksy and Hetty as about a year and a half ago and said, like, where are we at? What do you want to do as a club and things like that. So, no, there's definitely a pathway here as well in both sides of thing for players and coaches. So, this is definitely a club that when I sat them down, I said, like, I want to be a part of this and, obviously I want a head coach. I think it's been time now that I sort of step up and do that sort of thing. Did a fair bit. It's just because like I do a fair bit of stuff outside of here, obviously with school footy as well. So it was sort of like there's a lot going there and there's school rep footy and there was a lot going on. Whereas now I sort of step back from some of that stuff and just focus on here. So
yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good to be able to be on that journey. So you've had players come through your program, but obviously from Mal Meninga, where to from Mal Meninga, they head obviously towards Cup, but you guys got the BRL A grade here this year, which is under 19s, under 21s.
No, so BRL's is open men's.
Yeah, open men's and...
Yeah, so then there's 21s obviously in the community system. Right. For us in particular, some of our athletes will go and train with BRL and then hopefully play or make their debut. And, depending on obviously any of the athletes and where Cup goes, they potentially could progress up to, Queensland Cup. With the others, depending on, where they're at, if they're a bottom age kid, we're really going to try and focus on because they'll be back next year as well. Sure. We'll do some development with them throughout the year. They'll obviously go back and play some community footy and stuff. So they might go play that 21s competition.
Sure.
And then we'll focus around that. Same thing for the top age kids. If they're not doing BRL stuff, they'll go down and play in the community footy and stuff like that. But they're obviously under the eyes of JB and all the staff here and myself and things like that. And obviously Mike Glidden's got the BRL team. So, we get plenty of oversight with what's going on within the community. There's plenty of footy going on. Obviously, we've got a 10-week Mal Meninga season coming up, and then there's still another 10, 15 games of club footy after that if they're not playing in the BRL system or...
Yeah, that's so good because, there's a platform for them to go on.
Yeah.
Let's face it, there's only usually a small number that get through to the NRL.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to talk to Hetty about the fact that, there's players that go up and there's players that come back.
Yeah.
Your feeder club, obviously the Broncos, is fairly chocked in a few of the pathways for positions this year.
Yeah.
So we may see some of them come back and vice versa. So the connection that you guys have got with the Bronx is huge. And I know you've got a couple of like junior Bronco kids in your squad. They must be pretty special sort of athletes to work with too.
Yeah, well, some of them have been like doing some sessions with the NRL team as well. So it's good to have them come back and just experience in what they're doing up there and same sort of thing. Obviously, they're getting managed obviously within the Broncos and stuff, and then come back to us. And it's obviously pretty special to have them part of something. And I think it's really good for the rest of the boys that are in the environment too, because it kind of pushes them to get to that level.
Yep.
And there's no reason they can't reach that level, which is the best part about trying to give them that vision.
Sure.
Obviously, them coming back and being part of the environment, you can see the skill development as it progresses and things like that. And they're obviously all contracted athletes for certain reasons and things like that. So, we've got to respect that and do that. But you know what? It's good to be a part of that and have that affiliate partnership and connection there with the Broncos. So, no, overall, obviously, it's good for our squad. So,
absolutely, it is. It's so the development program here. We chatted about it being apart from others, that relationship with the Broncos is obviously a solid one. JB talked about the catchment around here of trying to get as many kids in the catchment as he can. And we see them putting stuff back in. Like, it's important to you, obviously, to have the four, I think you said it was about 4 clubs that you guys feed into. It's important to have a roster that's got as much of the best talent as you can on that side?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it all differs, Justin. Like, obviously JB oversees a lot of the community footy stuff. I try and get out to as many as I can as well. And then, as JB mentioned in his as well, like there's obviously other individuals that get out and look at some of the games and we obviously review a lot of it. But yeah, like obviously we want to get at, the most talent we can within our own catchment is definitely a good start. That's always a great foundation. We want to develop our own players in our catchment. That's the whole point of having catchments, right? It's the whole point of having, some sort of development system, and that's what we're here for. Which is also then where it sort of leads into, we are also a high performance program. So we will do everything we can to push those kids to be at that level, and hopefully, some of them hang on. And there has been, Ethan Malt's a classic example, come through the systems there. Will Parslow, a few local juniors there, but like to see those kids come through has been, unreal. Tremendous. So, but yeah, definitely reach out to our catchment areas and look at the clubs and things like that first. That's always been a priority. Like we try not to go outside of that. Obviously, most of it comes from the Broncos or the Titans, but most of the Titans stuff are from our catchment.
Yep.
But it's only if the Broncos pull anyone in and sort of say, hey, they're allocated to you outside of that. So it's only really if there's sort of like athletes from outside of the catchment that reach out and say, hey, look, I'm just looking for an opportunity.
Yep.
And if we got open trials or we got certain things, then we'll do that. We had a little bit of a different process this year where we really emphasize getting out the games and watching the local development, because I feel like it's so hard to get to a trial and say you've got one day to perform and then we've got to pick a certain amount of players. Yep. Like it's one of those things that you just put so much pressure on a kid, whereas sometimes those environments,
like, you're expected to watch 100 kids run around and play for an hour and a bit period, and all of a sudden you've got to go, okay, well, here's 40 names.
And it's one of those things. I actually had a kid a couple of years ago where I watched a lot of footage on him, and I had a trial, and I won't mention any names, but he didn't actually trial that well.
Mm-hmm.
But then prior to the trial, I would have said, like, this kid's going to be the best kid on the paddock.
Yeah.
Mind you, obviously there's circumstances and reasons he had going on outside of footy. Like, he was sunburned and wasn't feeling too well, and he was real crook and things like that on the day. And like, you don't know that sort of stuff when you get to trial. So that makes it difficult, right?
Yep.
And then obviously we brought that athlete in and he played every single game for us. Yeah. So it's one of those things that
it is.
You just can't judge. So yeah, we really tried to do a bit differently where we got out and looked at a lot of the clubs and footage as much as possible. And that's where obviously you come in at a spot.
Yeah.
Especially when I couldn't make a few of the games and things like that. So no, it definitely helps the situation.
Oh, that's good. That's really good to hear. As far as your mentoring and your culture and that sort of stuff goes, you just mentioned there that, kids are coming from different backgrounds and stuff. Like, I noticed this year you guys have taken on like full-time liaison officer, so you actually care about the players off the field as much as on the field.
Yeah, and like I spoke about it a little bit earlier where everyone's at different stages and things like that, but it's really important to understand that each individual athlete has got different things going on in their lives.
Yep.
Which is where obviously from a club point of view, I think we've gone to the next level where we've, employed staff there to support our athletes and stuff, both male and female. So, it's one of those things that the more support we can offer them and intervention, the better it's going to be. Because let's be honest, happy players usually playing better than somebody that's struggling. And then we obviously want to support everyone we can when they are struggling, because as mental health goes, we want to do everything we can to be there for each other, definitely. And it's a big thing like that. So, that's probably where, from a club point of view, I think we have taken it to that next level by offering that support and intervention, like I said. And then, we can keep them on the field, keep them happy and all that sort of stuff. But it is really important to get the off-field stuff right as well, as much as we can.
Well, like you say, they range between sort of 17 and 19-year-old young men. Some have got their first job. They're trying to work that out. They're trying to work out what's going on at home. Should they stay at home? Should they leave and go out and live with some mates? Like, there's plenty going on off the game. So it's good to know that the footy club that they invest so much of their effort into has got their back.
Yeah, and that's always the biggest thing to know. Like, you are a high-performance club. No matter what club you should be a part of, there should be some sort of support there.
Yep.
And, from our point of view, obviously, again, we obviously strive to be the best we can be.
Sure.
But from a club point of view, we definitely have that aspect of support.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I spoke about that. Inclusion's a big thing here.
Yeah, massive.
Showing that we care, and that's something that's really good on the side as well. So, but it allows us then to work with each individual and raise that performance and make sure we obviously do everything we can to focus on their development as an athlete.
What do you find as the most rewarding part of doing your job? Is it wins and losses? Is it marks on a graph, or is it?
Look, I think it's, again, I don't like the whole team app. Like, there's obviously certain team KPIs that we want to hit.
Sure.
You've always got to do what you can, and we have club KPIs we've got to hit. But the more we can work with individuals and we can work on their game and develop their game, and just to see how the growth for me in particular, obviously working with Will Parza a fair bit last couple of years and things like that. Like you can see that like his development, the way the game changed. And there's other athletes that have come through, Tyler's game management skills and things like that. There's plenty of other athletes, but I think if you can see the progression from the individual athlete and they can see their own progression, they're more likely to be driven as well.
Oh, definitely.
Like that's the reward in it.
Oh, so most definitely.
Everyone speaks about this light bulb moment, things like that. But the more you can see your development, how you get better at something, the more likely you are to push yourself to continue down that path. So from my point of view, it especially through the development side of things, we're an elite performance club, and if we can get them and push them to be elite, that's success. It doesn't matter about the results at the end of the day, but if I can see that they're putting in all the effort and they're working as hard as they can, it's always that simple analogy, don't come off the field knowing you could have give more. So it's as simple as that.
That's it. They've got to bring their best, but they're getting so much.
100%. Yeah. And if we can see the growth in each individual athlete, that's success. From my point of view anyway, from a coaching aspect.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Because in the end of the day, I'm here to try and invest my time about them.
Most definitely.
So if we can see the growth there, then that's all we're here for. So
most
doing our
definitely. Job. So as far as if you're a player trying to break into this organisation, what do you? I asked JB a few things, but what do you reckon separates them from the rest? It's. We talked about it previously, 2 hours a week training at club versus 6 hours here. So they got to have a fair bit of self-start and a bit of push to get here. Yeah,
100%. And look, everyone talks about doing 1%ers makes a difference.
Yep.
But it's also then getting the athlete to understand what is the 1%ers. So the inside push, the push support efforts, the kick chase efforts, the tying in from third man, bouncing a marker quicker, buying you a couple seconds in defence, all those little things go a long way to developing your game and pushing you there. So they're all the effort areas as the basics to start with. Yep. Then on top of that, as you spoke about, the more time you're actually given in difference to community footy. Obviously, with community footy, they're quite restricted with how many hours and days that they can do. But the more each individual athlete can continue to work on the basic foundational skills, when they get into programs like this, then we can progress that further.
Yep.
But you got to get the foundation down pat first. And then on top of that, it's doing everything you can to develop those skills. And then trying to find ways, I guess, if I was talking to somebody from community footy that really says, well, how do I break into this, as you just said, I'd suggest find a coach or somebody that's willing to give you, drills or activities to develop those skills, and then really push yourself. And look, I'm a big video analytic person, so I like to review stuff. I personally come through school, and most males are, we're visual learners. So if you can see yourself doing something, you're more likely to actually learn on something, which is why, I think with our boys, it's a lot easier to video something and show them, because then they understand what's going on. You can pull it up
and say, you should have done this or you should have done that.
Well, that's exactly right. There's no denying something or saying, oh, no, actually, I didn't do that. It's mate, it's on the video here.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Like I said, the more you can do that and find coaches to do that, the better it's going to be. So whether that's through the RISE programs, because that's a big thing for the community at the moment. So get around your RISE programs, get around your coaching directors.
I guess RISE is an opportunity for the player to push themselves into a program and try and get involved by signing up and committing and then seeing what it's all about. So I think it's a great program.
100%. And then your local community coach, the one bit of advice I'd always give to any kid trying to develop their skills is you can never learn too much from coaches. Yeah. Don't just, I'm not saying one coach knows it all, because let's be honest, we're all learning. I'm even learning, everyone, sure, the NRL coaches are learning. Yeah. You can never know too much. So the more you can go and seek feedback from each individual and each coach, the better you're going to be. Because you'll find that most coaches have very similar ideas around things, especially if they are trying to push you to be a high performance sort of
for sure.
athlete. But that's probably
if you can mix it up, and like you say, you've got JB and you've got Matty Head here that you can refer to. When we sat down with Matty for episode number 2, he said, he's always talking to Brownie and Jason Riles. So Everyone's looking to better themselves and sharpen the arrow.
And that's exactly right. Like, and you can never learn too much. And like, Matty's been great for me, obviously, in my development. Working with John as well to do obviously the pathways management and things like that. I had the opportunity to obviously work with Darryl Short, Michael Dobson, Glenn Dreger. Like, the names go on. Obviously, Jesse McLean was a big one. Look, it doesn't stop. No. So, like, between the schooling systems, between the community systems, and then you go into high-performance systems, like, the more you keep taking out, it's not necessarily saying you got to go with everything that they do, but you find what works to suit your model and coaching style that you want to do, 100%. And you can never know too much. Like, there's even been the most simple drill that you can see in a under-sevens community park footy that you can turn around and say, gee, that just works with, like, basic hands. Yeah. But how simple it is, but then how effective can you make it? Like,
well, that's good. And, like, I like the fact you're there, talk to as many coaches, because let's face it, there's lots of dads and mums all around this great game that give up their endless amount of times to coach teams and do sorts of things. And, they're all volunteers and they're doing it because they love it. And there's definitely some nuggets everywhere. And
100%.
It's just great to see them. They usually start out because they've got a kid involved, but then you find a few that have gone on because they don't have kids, but it's their thing and they just love it.
100%. And look, parents play a major part in that. And we can't be more grateful for everything they do and the sacrifices they make. And, like, I grew up in a family of 5 and it was at footy every weekend. So, like, family and your parents and the sacrifices that they do to get you to football and make sure you're there, pay your fees, get your boots, all your sort of things, like, you appreciate everything they do. But, knowledge is the same thing, like, to all the local family and parents that get involved within community footy, obviously very thankful for what they do, but they contribute to the knowledge. Like, they got to go learn something, get their coach's course and do all that sort of thing as well, and then obviously help each kid out. So every single part plays a role.
Yeah, look, I started obviously watching my son play as young, and I liked videoing. Well, I picked up a video when he said he didn't like me yelling abuse at him. So we kind of took that up, which was great. And, that's my contribution to it, and I love it. And people say, do you get paid, make money? Well, no, I don't. But, I've done hundreds of hours like some of the coaches, and I enjoy it. It's my thing. I really love it.
It's funny that you say that too, because, like, I got injured back in it would have been 2016, 2017. My brother was still playing at that time as well. And I just started videoing some of his games, and, like, he was obviously my youngest brother, so he's still playing footy through, like, the 16, 17s, and I actually videoed a few, and that was probably when I changed my perspective from coaching as well, actually, around starting to analyse his games and analyse him a little bit more. Obviously, from that point of view, then I've just sought advice from other people and individuals and mentors and things like that to try and help my development from a coaching point of view. But, the more people we can get involved, whether it is videoing, whether it is literally just running the water, whether it is helping with the recovery basics, even at community levels. So getting kids to understand the importance of nutrition and health and recovery. Because at the moment, with, like, there's that many injuries going around the junior systems and stuff. So the more people we can get involved, the better it's going to be for our grassroots in the end. And then,
definitely.
In turn, it's going to impact, obviously, our percentage of athletes we get through.
Oh, look, and it takes an army and a willing army, and
exactly,
which makes the game greater. Like the NRL's the pinnacle, it's the flashy, but there wouldn't be one player in there that hasn't gone through and benefited from all the volunteers. So
100%. Everyone's got their story too, and how they got there, and everyone's got the people that they want to be grateful for and thank, and things like that definitely. Too. So for sure,
which is great to see. Well, look, I think that gives our audience a great insight into what goes on here, and we've got some games coming up. When's the trial? When's your season start?
Our season doesn't start until I'm pretty sure it's about the 15th of February. We've got a trial on the 25th against Tweed, and we've got to play against South a week later, and we'll play at obviously our junior affiliates with Capalaba and Redlands. So be good to obviously get out there and support the local community in that regards as well, and obviously showcase some of their talent that they've actually got into our system. So that'll be really good. And then beyond that, we've got a week off and we're straight in the season. So it's a 10-week season, and it's pretty intense straight away. Yeah,
that's pretty. It's not far away now. It's pretty warm. I saw the last game is in Cairns.
Yeah.
Probably glad the last one's there and not the first one.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Hey?
It'd be a bit of travel too. We're up there on a Sunday, so I think it'll be a fly-in, fly-out situation. Yeah, but it'd be good for the boys to get away and experience something like that, and the professionalism and travel. And
it'll be for most of them, be probably their first time they actually travel as a squad.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
It is really exciting. Yeah, it's pretty cool opportunity for these kids, and can't wait for them. It'll be good.
Oh, that's so good. So 25th of January.
Yeah,
get on down to Redlands. No doubt it'll be on your socials. What time's the games? We'll get many people along as we can. Probably a Cyril game too, will there?
Yeah, there'll be Cyril. I think our Harvey Norman's playing as well, so the female pathways as well. So I think it's a four-way hit-out sort of thing.
So all the men's and the women's, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then a week later at Capalaba.
Yeah, same sort of thing against South.
That's so good. That gives a lot of people an opportunity to come out and see the guys and support them before they start the season.
Oh, 100%. And that's it. We want to obviously support the local community as well and our junior affiliates. And as I said, it's about what they've done to get some of these athletes into this program. And it's about giving back. And then at the same time, they get on board with the Seagulls and we go on for a strong season.
It's great because like you say, there's so many kids from those teams, those clubs, I should say, that are in this team. And it's an opportunity for their clubs to see them and be proud of them. So,
well, that's exactly right. 100%.
It's really, really good. Well, I won't hold you up. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks, Al, for having me.
I look forward to spending some more time. We'll do a couple other little activations around the Mal squad and keep it going and give people an idea as to what's ahead.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, mate.
Thanks very much, Blake. Appreciate it.
Yeah.